everyone, and welcome to another edition of The One with the Recapping. I am your friendly neighborhood soda, as always, joined by my good friend Ben Rayner. How are you doing today, my boy? My man, you're old. I don't know why I called you my boy.
I'm good.
Yes, sir.
I'm good. Really looking forward to talking about this season.
Me too. Now, this one is universally considered probably the worst season of Friends, actually. I understand that while there are definitely standout episodes, there weren't that many that I would consider all-time greats in this one. Because it felt like at this point they kind of sometimes you felt like maybe they were running out of ideas.
Yeah,
in the season.
They definitely made me the rack this season. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, if I'm not mistaken, the season where Joey can't remember what girl, if he slept with a girl before or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
Like when you're at that point, you know you're starting to run out of ideas.
But there are some really funny episodes, and we have some really great recurring characters that come back, and we are introduced to.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
All right.
Right. So yeah, let's just get it out of the way. What is your number 5?
It might get punted, but I'm not sure. The one with the fertility test.
Yeah, it's a punt.
Yeah.
My number 5 is the one with the sharks.
It's on my honorable mentions.
Okay, so this is probably one of the weirdest storylines they ever did. Not the crux of the show, but like where the origin. Basically, because what I had read was in order to, oh God, what's the freaking word? To help, well, Matthew Perry was going through a hard time. There was a word I'm particularly looking for. But anyways, to work around his schedule, they had it so Chandler went to Tulsa so he could do scenes separately and all that stuff. And it is one of the weirdest things they did in the show. Like, I mean, the Tulsa arc doesn't work, but this episode comes from that. Monica visits Chandler in Tulsa, surprising him while he is watching porn in his hotel room. In a panic, he switches on a shock documentary, leading Monica to believe that sea creatures turn him on. Joey thinks he's already slept with the girl he's dating. Okay, this is the episode. Phoebe fears losing Mike after Ross tells him she has never had a long-term relationship. To make amends, Ross talks to Mike but makes up a story that Phoebe had a 6-year-long relationship with an East Indian man named Vikram. So plot A and plot C were the ones for this episode. Like the B plot with Joey, it's just like, that's a little weird. But yeah, the sharks and the Vikram storyline are top notch. Like, I mean, only in Friends where they have people think Chandler has a fucking shark fetish.
The fact that Monica was okay with it, should we be worried about it?
Well, it is Chandler after all.
Okay.
Okay, what's your number 4?
The one with the soap party.
Nope.
Okay, so this one is showing that he getting tickets to a one-woman show. But he can't go because he has to be up early the next day. Later on in the episode, we realize that's a lie. Joey's been sending the gang to various weird stuff every year because he holds a soap party every year and he doesn't want the friends to go. So they find out they all go except for Chandler. But we'll get back to that later. Meanwhile, Ross is giving a show to two fellow paleontologists. How do you say that? Paleontologist? That is some people.
Yeah, another paleontologist.
Paleontologist.
Just say that word. It's a tough word.
That is a doctor. One is played by Alicia
Tyler.
Alicia Taylor. And the other one is played by some schlub. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's a schlub that you see him, it's like, oh, I know that guy because you see him in a lot of stuff from that time.
Right. So everyone ends up at the party. Like the doctor ends up at the party. Life feels inferior to everyone she dates because everyone has a PhD. Which, and then during the storyline room, Which has a thing for Joey. But she's getting numbers. It is a fun time. Matt, what do you think of this episode?
Well, you missed the Chandler part. So that's my favorite part of the episode. So let me take over. So yes, for some reason, somehow word didn't get back to Chandler about this. So he's the only one that goes to Joey's gift. And this year it was a one-woman show. And the one woman is none other than Alex Borstein, who the name might not ring a bell, but I guarantee you know her most famous character, Lois Griffin, the voice of Lois Griffin. And basically it can be looked at a little weird in 2019 eyes because 2021 eyes, sorry, because of the character she's playing. It comes off as a very angry, man-hating woman. But that's the funny part of it because she's so in your face right off the bat that it scares the shit out of Chandler, who's sitting there frightened for the whole time. And then he gets he's like, after he tells all the friends, it was actually good for me. I learned a lot about you guys. Want to come with me? So they said, yeah, sure. So he brings them all, and just as about to start, he fucking ditches them all and says, see you guys later, suckers. That's the best story arc of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, funny episode.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you got to see Monica let herself loose because she's getting everyone to sign things at the party. Oh, good times.
How about you? What's your number 4?
This one was probably going to get punted. The one where no one proposes.
No, you go on my list.
Really? I thought it would have been because of one of the plots in this story. After Rachel mistakenly thinks Joey proposed, he tries to explain that it was a misunderstanding, but has difficulty finding an opportune moment. Meanwhile, Chandler and Monica continue trying for a baby, while Ross, unaware that Joey has proposed to Rachel, plans to ask her if she wants to resume their relationship. So you've got the Joey-Ross triangle that's picked up from this season, because as was established the season before, Joey had feelings for him. There was a little bit of a misunderstanding. Joey somehow ends up with the ring, ends up proposing. However, that's not the best part of the episode. The best part of the episode is Monica and Chandler trying to make a baby. They're in the closet. Guess who walks in on them? None other than Jack Geller. And then when they explain what's happening to him, he does everything in his power to make sure they have enough time to give him a grandchild, to the point of sliding brochures under the door. And it's just like, oh my God. Could you imagine the horror of your father-in-law walking in on you stooping his daughter? Like, come on. And of course, it would always happen to Chandler.
Yeah.
I think Chandler's best stuff is everything that happens after, for the most part, everything that happens after him and Monica get together. And this is up there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And there was great stuff pre-Monica, but it's just, because he just gives them so many awkward situations.
Okay. There's something I want to add, but I'll wait until later to say what I want to add about that.
Well, is it to do with this episode? Because you can say it now. I'm done talking about it.
No, it has something to do with Chandler's past.
Okay. If we get to it, we'll get to it. If not, we'll talk about it again for sure. Okay, you're number 3.
The one with the male nanny.
Not on my list.
Oh, wow. Well, and Rachel are looking for a nanny, and they decide, Rachel decides, does McBride to hire a male nanny who is overly sensitive, and this drives Ross crazy. While all that is happening, Monica tells Chandler who Cook is the funniest guy she knows. And that gets Chandler to really not pissed off, but really,
Chandler.
yeah, he becomes his own Chandler for it.
Yeah, neurotic and yeah.
Gotta keep it real, man. What is, yeah. What else? What happened with Phoebe in this episode? Oh, yeah. Phoebe and Mike decided to give each other keys, but when they were doing it, David comes back.
Mm-hmm.
As David comes to visit Phoebe, they end up kissing. Mike walks in. They end up getting it. They end up fighting over her. Phoebe and Mike end up. Phoebe ends up telling David she was Mike and she loves Mike. Yeah. So David decides to leave. But as he was leaving, his last written to Mike is, if you ever come to Minsk, we'll party.
Well, party Vlatnik style, which is, I love Hank Azaria so much for deliveries of lines like that. His comedic timing is genius.
I should also say, the male nanny that they decided to hire is being played by one Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yes, and who was a last minute replacement.
Really?
You know who was the? I don't know if he was actually signed on originally, but you know who was the original person slotted in for that role?
No.
I'll give you a hint. He's America's dad.
Tom Hanks?
Yeah, I read that on the IMDb trivia, so don't take it for 100% grain of salt. But if that's the case, that would have been epic because you know what was special about this episode?
It was on 200.
Correct. So I mean, that would have made perfect sense to get the guy like Tom Hanks on the 200th. Still, Freddie Prinze Jr. at that time was a pretty big get because that would have been 2002. So this was the height of like Scooby-Doo and all of his teen movies that he was doing. So he was a pretty big deal at that time. But Tom Hanks as a male nanny, come on, man, that would have been funny because Tom Hanks hasn't done TV since Bosom Buddies.
Well, you count all his SNL appearances.
I meant okay, sitcom since since then. But yeah, could you imagine that Tom Hanks on Friends? That would have been awesome.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it would have been a totally different role, but I mean, just still,
I know different tangent, subject thing altogether. Have you seen the artwork of Shrek by Chris Farley's voice?
Yes, I have. Really weird.
I kind of feel like that with this. Like, it would have been funny, but I think everything happened how it was meant to
Here's
be.
the thing about that particular example. The Chris Farley stuff isn't the same script.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with the script that we know of, yes, Mike Myers is the better choice, but we don't know what the full script of when they were doing it with Chris Farley was. So I mean, it definitely wouldn't have been the same. It would not have been the same in a different way. That makes sense.
I don't know if Tom Hanks would have been all
See, while it would have been cool, in a way, there's always the possibility that it would have taken you out of the episode as well, because it is Tom.
Yeah, but at the same time, last season we had Brad Pitt.
Who do you think's bigger, Brad Pitt or Tom Hanks? At that time, probably Brad Pitt. But in hindsight, who do you think is bigger? I'd have to go Tom Hanks. Because again, America's dad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been pulled off. It's one of those what ifs that we'll never get to see, though.
And I have to say, Tom Hanks. I'm sorry for all the Brad Pitt fans, but Tom Hanks is clearly the better actor.
I don't think that's a hot take, Ben. I really don't. It's true. The guy's won 2 Academy Awards for a reason. Back to back, too, which is really hard.
I know. What's your number 3?
Possibly a light punt. The one with Ross's inappropriate song.
Not on either of my list.
Really? Okay, so some more baby hijinks ensues. Joey has earned too much money to keep hiding it in his bathroom. Because why not? So Monica suggests investing in real estate, such as Richard's apartment, which is for sale. Chandler accompanies them, and they find a videotape marked Monica. After some coaching from slick, ideal daughter-in-law Rachel, Phoebe has her first dinner with boyfriend Mike's classy parents and some boring acquaintances. But despite a phony British accent, she's too much herself not to shock and disgust. Yet Mike sticks with her and more. Ross is the first to get baby daughter Emma to really laugh, but Rachel is shocked to hear he did it by singing a rap song about big buttocks. Nevertheless, she's more envious. Now, obviously, the thing everybody remembers from this episode is, I like big butts and I cannot lie. That's how Ross gets the kid to laugh, is by singing that. Rachel, of course, gives him shit. What does she do later? She sings the whole song. So, I don't think it's an I don't think it's an appropriate song to teach a kid, because they're not like they can remember the lyrics at that old. It's his 2021 eyes. What do I know? I don't have a kid. But also, it's Chandler thinking that Monica and Richard made a sex tape together is another great storyline. And it turns out, isn't it Richard with somebody else? He recorded over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, yes, we get Mike meeting Phoebe's parents for the first time. And Mike's mom is played by someone we've already seen in one of our past reviews. This adds to your theory that they are definitely based off of each other. Now I'm really seeing it watching this time, because the person who plays Mike's mom is none other than the actress who played Ted's mom in How I Met Your Mother.
There you go.
Son of a bitch, you were right.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And I know Mike's dad from 24.
Yeah, he looks familiar too, to be honest. I didn't actually
I don't know if you watched any of 24.
I never saw 24.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if there's maybe something that he else he's done that he's familiar with, but I do remember seeing him in stuff. Okay, Mentalist. Don't really remember him in that. Dude did a lot of TV.
Oh yeah, he's big on TV.
Oh, okay. He was on an episode of Firefly. Okay. Profiler, yeah, I saw that when I was a kid. Oh, maybe he's just got one of those faces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your number 2?
The one with the blind dates.
Yeah, not even nowhere near on my list.
I'm sorry. I know this is a weekly episode in this season, but it makes me laugh every time I watch it. I love this episode.
Tell the audience why you love it. Or yeah.
Give me a second, man.
Oh, sorry. I was like, don't bury the lead, Ben.
We see a returning character in Sean Lovitz come back, and we're 99% sure in the same character.
Yeah, like, I mean, all the signs point to it. They talk about things that are relevant to the other character, but they never explicitly say that it's the same character.
Well, argument's sake, you're saying
Yeah.
it's the same.
You're right, because like he lost a restaurant and he's a pothead, So yeah, it probably is the same character, just was never said.
So, excuse me. The main question of this episode is, Ross and Rachel, they didn't have a breakup, but Rachel moved out and moved back with Shirley. So Phoebe and Shirley think they're mad at each other and they want them to reunite. So they set Ross up on a flight date with somebody who is a no-show. And they set Rachel up with this Sean Lovitz character whose life went to shit. And this pathetic of a man. While all that is going on, Monica and Chandler are babysitting Emma. But Monica's not ovulating. So as Emma is sleeping, they went to canoodle, as Chandler would say, in the next room. And while they were in the next room, Shirley walks in, find them canoodling, takes Emma out. When they were done canoodling, Monica, Monica Shadow came out.
We have to rename the show from Friends if that ever happened. More like illegal.
They find out the baby's gone, then Cole Winston in panic, trying to find him with Shirley, and that happens. Matt, what do you think of this episode? And what do you think of all the canoodling?
So that's again like Chandler is my favorite character because a lot of my favorite story arcs involve him, and this is no different. Like them trying to mack it at every opportunity you can. Like that's a trope you see a lot in TV shows when women are ovulating. They're always trying to shtup wherever they can. But some of this was funny because it involves their best friend's baby, then leaving the baby alone, and then Joey finding it. It's just so good. That's what I have to say about the episode. But also the Joey and Phoebe storyline is also good because they're two manipulative little bastards. Yeah, and I've got the storyline synopsis here on IMDb, and I love what they say about John Lovitz. So it's like, Joey able to fix him up. Phoebe does a great job. Steve is so unattractive, he even makes himself cry.
And I love that tag of episode with Joey and Ross are in the restaurant trying to earn free food.
Free crab cakes, yes, which I can say I've never had.
Me neither.
Yeah.
And then the waiter said, "We're not doing you tonight. We have a pool going on."
Did you say that when you were running it down about how the waiters were taking bets on Ross?
No, you want to film them in?
Yeah, so Ross's date stood him up, and obviously he's sitting there for a long time, and the waiter comes up, so, "Oh, I'm so sorry, here's some free crab cakes for you." But it's revealed that all the waiters had taken a bet to see how long it would take for Ross to leave, and the guy that gave him the free crab cakes was trying to get him to leave so he could win the bet.
No, that didn't get him to leave, he was stay.
Sorry?
You were trying to get Ross to stay.
That's right.
That's why he kept offering him more and more food.
Right.
So he wanted him to stay.
Right.
Yeah, at the end, good episode. John Lovitz killed it as always. Awesome.
Yeah. So my number 2, coincidentally enough, is the episode before that. The one where Monica sings.
That is my honorable mentions.
So yes, this is the episode before the one that Ben was just talking about, the one with the blind dates. Phoebe urges Monica to sing in Mike's piano bar. He owns a karaoke bar, kind of. The audience loves her, but only because the spotlight reveals she is not wearing a bra under her see-through blouse. Meanwhile, an angry, paranoid Ross is thinking Rachel is moving on without the courtesy of telling, then tries finding a date. Rachel wanting to talk with Ross, realizes their arrangement is not working and moves back in with Joey, taking Emma with her. So basically, when it comes to that storyline, Dermot Mulroney is guest starring in this because he's the one that took over for Rachel while she was on maternity leave. And of course, there's mutual feelings there, but on Rachel's part, doesn't feel like she's ready to do that yet. But Ross, being Ross, he immediately thinks she's moving on. She's not telling him, like he just goes all paranoid like he's done in the past. And it ends up with they can't live together for the sake of the kid anymore, because that's what they were doing. They were living together so that way they would both be present in Emma's life. But unfortunately, it's not working out at this time. So that's why she decides to move back in with Joey. Also in this episode, they didn't actually tell this. This is the episode where we find out that Joey did that Japanese commercial.
No.
Isn't it? Because I
thought the eyebrow one.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Confused the two. Yes. I just remembered Chandler doing his eyebrows. Yes. What happened with his eyebrows to begin with? Did he just get them a little too plucked too much? What happened?
The next one, he managed to suffer through the pain, but he couldn't suffer through the pain with the right one.
Right. So he goes to Chandler because he's freaking out. He's got like an audition or something. So he's got one bushy eyebrow and then one like pencil thin eyebrow. It's a ridiculous look. But this is where Chandler reveals one of his hidden talents. And he says that he used to do the makeup for his dad's gay burlesque show when he was a kid. And he has a painless way of plucking your eyebrows. So he finishes up for Joey, pain free. And that's when you realize, okay, there, Chandler, you needed to get out more when you were a kid. Because I remember he shows up late to the bar and he's just like, Monica asked him what was wrong. It's like a Joey had a thing. But the tag of this episode has always stuck with me. Chandler goes up to sing "Joy to the World" by Three Dog Night is the name of the band. Mm-hmm. But every time I hear it on the radio, I always hear it in Chandler Bing's voice. Jeremiah was the bullfrog. Every time I hear that on the radio, that pops in my head because of Matthew Perry. Yeah.
And one of my favorite Chandler lines in this episode is when he's looking at Joey's eyebrows before he fixes them. He's like, it's like a moving caterpillar changing his mama.
Yeah, there were a lot of great lines in this episode.
And one of the songs Monica sang, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a nice throwback to another show we covered, Saved by the Bell.
That's true. That's true. And also, whose name does Joey use when he goes for his eyebrow appointment? Chandler Bing. Yeah. Okay. Also, there is the unseen character of Kenneth at the bar. Up next, we got Kenneth singing "I Touch Myself." Mike looks disgusted. I'm not here to judge.
Oh my! I love Mike.
Yeah, me too.
I wish he had a bigger part, but when he got the part, I think Paul Rudd was cared about him grow up. Mm-hmm. Even 2002.
Well, what I'm happy with when it comes to Mike is that they realized they had something here, because originally he was only supposed to be a guest star for those first couple episodes. But then they realized there's something there. They decided to write him in more because he was popular and he's a good character. He's a perfect balance for Phoebe.
And I'm sorry, I love the reunion of you and Hingle. I'm bummed out in the show.
To be honest, if it wasn't COVID, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if he would have been there. But like the producers, like the director said, we only had a certain amount of time. Like there's a lot of guest stars that were missing too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unfortunate. Paul Rudd was one of them that wasn't there. But I mean, if you think about it, when it comes to guest stars, I don't think a lot of people will think of him as a guest star because of how much he was in those last two seasons. Whereas, suppose like our Richard, like Tom Selleck, that's a big guest star.
No, true.
Right?
Do you think maybe his character wasn't big enough? It would have been funny if they got Hank Azaria.
Like I said, if I got a good feeling if it wasn't for COVID, we would have gotten a lot of those people.
Oh.
For sure.
I know he was only in 3 episodes. Can you imagine if they got Adam Goldberg?
I'm sorry. But you don't live here. Oh, God. Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah, they walk into the apartment, Adam Goldberg freaking walked out.
All right. Should we do honorable mentions real quick?
Yes. So what you've got more than I do.
Well, one with Jimmy's Rats.
Okay, nope.
The one with the Sharks.
Okay.
The one with the lottery.
That was a good one.
The one where Monica sings.
Me.
And I want to make an honorable here. The one with the pediatrician.
Oh, that was a good one. God damn, Ross. That was a good one.
And then the episode where we were introduced to Mike. Mm-hmm. I believe, right?
Hold on. I got the list right here. The one with the pediatrician is
I believe it is.
not on the list. That's not here.
Maybe
Unless it's under a different name.
yeah. And in the one where Chandler and Monica get ready to move to Tulsa.
Oh.
The one right
Oh,
before
there it
the
is.
one.
It's the third episode. Yeah, that's Mike. It was right at the very top. Yes, it is Paul Rudd's first appearance as Mike. And I do want to say I love how he got introduced to the character. So do you have a person for me? Yeah, Mike. And then he just, yep, just random stranger in the back.
Well, okay. You're on the mention, and I think I know you're number one.
So, like I said, there are three. The one where Emma cries, the one in Barbados, and the one with Rachel's other sister, which I got a feeling is your number one.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so on that note, then you're number one.
Well, one of Rachel's other sisters, it's Thanksgiving time, Rachel's other sister decided to join them because she just broke up with somebody, right?
Shock. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, so I said shock, but yeah, that's what happened. She broke up with somebody.
So everyone gathers together in the apartment, and her sister is being with her sister, selfish, driving all the attention towards her. When the element comes up where if Wise and Rachel die, the baby goes to Monica and Chandler. However, if Monica dies, the baby goes to the Gathers. This puts Chandler in a fucking pissy mood, and I can't say I blame him.
No, of course.
And then while all that is going on, Joey is getting people to teaching him how to lie because he was supposed to meet somewhere for days, and he just can't make it. He didn't make it. Oh, and I should say, Rachel's sister Amy is played by the talented, the beautiful Christina Applegate.
Yeah, who is perfect as the bitchy sister.
Oh my god.
The original plan for this episode was to bring back Reese Witherspoon as Green. However, Witherspoon was unavailable, so the writers rewrote the role as Amy Green and cast Christina Applegate in it. So it was supposed to be Jill originally. Yeah, Christina Applegate is such a breath of fresh air in this show when she comes in, just because it's so diametrically opposed. Well, basically, it's who Rachel would have been if she had stayed with Barry.
You think?
Yeah, we saw it in the one where the one where they had the flashback.
Yeah, no, the
one that could have been, or whatever it was called. Yeah. But we saw that in there that Rachel was like that. Jill, however, is way worse.
No, Amy.
Amy, yes, sorry, Amy. Yeah, Amy was were worse. And Thanksgiving episode. This is actually again, according to IMDb, this is the first Thanksgiving episode where there is no mention of Chandler's aversion to Thanksgiving food.
Right.
I wonder if that's just a plot line they just dropped after a while. Because I don't think it's.
Well, think about it. What happened in the fifth Thanksgiving episode?
The first Thanksgiving episode?
Yeah. The one with the flashback.
Right. Yes.
And how did that episode end? He told Monica he loved him. So my feeling is he doesn't have Thanksgiving anymore.
Yeah, I can see that. Because I really do. Because I do remember being mentioned after that, but it wasn't a major thing like it was in years past.
Because I think you realize for the most part, he's happy with Monica.
Yeah, I guess so.
And being with Monica fixes Chandler.
That's fair point. I never actually thought about that. I never thought about that until I read that tidbit a couple minutes ago, to be honest. Yeah, but there is connections between Christina Applegate and two of the guest stars on the show. I know you know who one of them is. Come on, dude, you sent me the clip.
You know,
Married
tell
with
you,
Children. Matt LeBlanc guest starred in an episode
yeah,
as Christina Applegate's character's boyfriend.
right, yeah.
Yeah. And she also appeared on his sitcom Top of the Heap, which is one of his failed sitcoms that I randomly found on CTV streaming up here. How weird was that?
You know why that is? Because Top of the Heap is a spin-off of Married with Children.
Really?
That character from Top of the Heap is a character he played in Married with Children.
I did not know that.
The more you know.
Huh. That's an interesting fact. Yeah, it is. What do you know? There's 3 spin-offs. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Yeah, no, the other one, I could have sworn I read that correctly. Please don't prove me wrong. Yes. Nope. Yes. Matthew Perry also played Christina Applegate's boyfriend in a TV movie called Dance Till Dawn in 1988.
Can't say I ever heard of that.
Nope. It's probably been lost to the ravages of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know you're number one.
Yeah, it's the only one that's been punted.
Yeah.
And it follows a tradition where there is one episode per year that delivers the emotional kick in the balls.
Is that really a tradition? I never realized that.
Tradition, but it's just something that happens. It's more like a trope that happens with sitcoms where you have to have that one episode where something major happens. Friends pretty much did it every year.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
How I Met Your Mother did it a few times every year.
They did it a few times as well. This one is one of them, and it is the aforementioned, the one with the fertility test. Still unable to conceive, Monica and Chandler decide to get tests done at a fertility clinic where they run into Chandler's favorite ex, Janice. Rachel receives a gift certificate for a free massage at a chain massage center. Phoebe chastises Rachel for even thinking about going to a massage chain, which she feels takes away business from independent massage therapists like herself. However, Phoebe actually works at this specific massage chain. Rachel says she won't go and even tears up the gift certificate, but she later tapes it back together, goes for a free massage, and gets Phoebe as her masseuse. Joey and Charlie's relationship progresses. Joey confides in Ross that Charlie might be too smart for him. As Joey wants to get to the Met, not to see the Mets, as Joey originally assumes, Ross coaches Joey on the museum's layout and certain paintings of the planned route throughout the museum. But it's the main reason you watch this episode is what's in the title. It's the Monica and Chandler storyline, because all season long they had been trying to conceive a child, taking every advantage as every opportunity they could, as we explained earlier, what they went and canoodled while the kid was in the one room. However, unfortunately, at the end of the episode, it's revealed that neither of them can have kids. And it's just an intimate scene with the two of them. And Chandler's the one that takes the phone call. And that is not a position I'd ever want to be in, to be able to have to go to your wife and tell them the one thing that they want in the world they can't have ever, because even if she was able to have kids, he can't. That is not something I'd ever want to have to do.
Now, maybe I'm wrong. I thought whenever doctors have to get news like that, I thought you always have to go there in person to hear the news.
I don't know.
It's not just like it's a TV thing.
It might be. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Remember when I said there was something I wanted to do after your thing where after they got together and started to keep getting better and better?
Yeah.
Janice is the one who keeps getting funnier and funnier after Monica and Chandler get together, in my opinion.
Totally, because she always encounters them at the worst times. And we're going to get probably the best one next season.
I think this is the best one.
You think this was the?
Yeah. And think about the place and the location and what Chandler was there to do.
Okay. You're right. The scenario is the best one, hands down. But I don't know. I have a soft spot for how Chandler plays it in the next season. But this, you're
Oh,
right. This one's great.
he might be the funniest. That might be the funniest Chandler. But the
Right. This is the
scenario.
funniest one because, like, yeah, good luck doing it to that.
And then again, she's great in the season 8 finale where she's Rachel's roommate.
Yes, yeah, that's right. She's good in there. Really, Maggie Wheeler has never had a bad appearance in the show.
And this is Encounter 6 season 1, but
That's
that
true.
wasn't.
That's true. That's true.
And I love that she was there at the reunion. If anybody should have been there, it's her.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, she definitely deserved to be there right alongside with them. Sorry,
I
I'm just
miss
trying.
Gunther, but we're not. I miss Gunther.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find the whole Chandler Monica bit.
We should also bring up the fact that in a season, in an episode this season, Mr. John Stamos had
That's
a
right. Yeah,
guest star.
right. It's the next
Uh,
episode because they're looking for a donor, and they bring in John Stamos and unfortunately chase him away.
and really awkward. Maybe the most awkward dinner party in the show. Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe. Oh, and of course, this is how the end of Chandler and Janice ends. I'd love to stay, but I've got a hot date. Please go. Let me know if you need a hand. I think it just fell off. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't have. I can't find the quotes anywhere for that final scene. But seriously, go watch that scene with Monica and Chandler because you are 100% right. Chandler being grows throughout the show, and this is. I'd probably say 1A and 1B with another speech he gives in the last season to deal with this particular situation. You wouldn't have gotten that with season 1 Chandler Bing.
No, or you know what? I don't think we would have gotten anything that Monica had to deal with from season 1 Monica.
Right.
They fit each other. Their puzzle pieces fit each other so well. And I think that's why their relationship works.
Yes. And I did find how he breaks it to her. And of course, it's only how Chandler could. So he says, apparently my sperm have low motility and you have an inhospitable environment. Monica's question, of course, what does that mean? Chandler's response, it means that my guys won't get off their Barca loungers and you have a uterus that's prepared to kill the ones that do. Yeah, it's a good way to leave the tension, but yeah, that's a difficult situation, and they pulled it off very, very well. All right, man, we're here. We're coming into the final season of Friends. Can you believe we started this 2.5 months ago?
Nope.
Well,
10 season show. That's what happened.
Trust me, folks, the next one we're doing is much shorter.
Yeah. So, what do we have to look forward to next week, Matt?
Well, we see Phoebe finally get something that every girl deserves, a fairy tale wedding. We see Monica and Chandler going through the trials and tribulations of adoption. And an instance where Chandler can't keep his mouth shut about that thing. We get a great episode with Danny DeVito guest starring. We have the return of Amy Green. We have the group thinking Chandler's having an affair. We have Rachel getting a massive job opportunity that could change the course of everybody's lives.
We have, sorry to interrupt, we have Chandler perfecting time travel.
That is true. We do have perfecting time travel. We also have probably one of the more emotional, easily one of the more emotional finales of all time. Plus, the episode that is before it is just as emotional. There is a lot of crying at the end. There's a lot of cheering, and it's up there for how the creators ended the series. It's up there for one of the best finished series of all time when it comes to landing the finale.
We also want to. We have some good guest stars throughout the season, including Miss Anna Ferris.
Yes, I will introduce her because she is one of the main cruxes of this. Anna Faris, this would have been around the time of Lost in Translations. This was after Scary Movie. This is just when she was really starting to get her name out. She plays a young lady, a 19-year-old, something like that, I think. She's young.
Yeah.
Who accidentally gets pregnant and has to give the child up for adoption. And in the end, she ends up choosing Monica and Chandler.
I do find it funny that she ends up marrying, Anna Ferris ends up marrying Chris Pratt, and at the beginning of the relationship, Anna Ferris was a bigger star. And nobody knew who Chris Pratt was.
I remember that. And well, everyone was like, isn't that the Parks and Rec guy? And now everyone's like, dude, Chris Pratt.
What happened? Yeah.
Yeah, I got 4 words that happened. Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'll meet you forwards, I'll give you 2 words. Star-Lord.
Well, if you're just going to get all nitpicky about it. But you're right. That's the one that launched in the stratosphere. But yeah, I do remember before that, it was like, who is this Chris Pratt guy? I remember seeing him in a movie, which I don't recommend because it's a movie called Take Me Home Tonight. I just remember the whole concept. I'm like, oh, this is something I can get into. The movie ended up being garbage, but he plays the bad guy boyfriend in there, and that was the first time I'd ever seen Chris Pratt.
I saw him on the show, The OC.
The OC? I know he was on Everwood.
I never seen Everwood.
Yeah, me neither.
He was in the final season of The OC, and get this, I hated his character so much that that's part of the reason why I think I'll fucking wreck for as long as I did.
Wow,
that character annoyed the hell out of me.
What was wrong with him?
He didn't play some hippie annoying douchebag that he was annoying. And I don't know why, but for me, I hated him.
With a name like Che, I don't blame you.
Yes.
All right.
And then
here's something ironic. His character in The Name of Everwood was named Bright. He's known famously for playing a complete imbecile on Parks and Rec. That's why I think it's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, where can everyone find you?
At my Instagram and Twitter below, soda_the_saxman. You can find me on this channel doing several shows a week with Ben here. You can also find me over my other channel, Schmoes of the North, where you can find me weekly on Schmoedown 90 Canada, breaking down the matches of the week with my fellow Schmoes of the North. Ben's sometimes on there. You'll recognize people from all over this media space that are interested in the Schmoedown. So definitely check that out.
And you can find me at my Twitter at Ben_radio. And you can find me here every Thursday on Shooting the Breeze with Matt. Every Friday on Recapping the Past again with Matt. Every Saturday on Get Sweaty. And every Saturday on Matt Schmoedown, the Schmoedown show, where we go into Schmoedown competitors. We're on Matt's channel. Last week we went into Kevin Smith's. We had Sean Kaiser on. That was a really fun time. This week we're covering JTE, Little Evil himself. That's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, make sure to check that one out too. It's going to be a great episode because JT's got a legendary career.
Oh my God. He was there since the beginning.
That's right. Well, the first Schmodown match.
That's right.
Yeah, it's where we got the infamous Triceratops from.
That's right.
Yeah. See, I may not have seen it, but I know my Schmodown history.
There you go.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you when we break down our top 5 of the final season of Friends next week. Friends season 10. It's gonna be bittersweet to say the least. So we will see you next week on the one with the recapping. Thank you very much for joining us, and don't forget, everyone, stay sweaty.